Yo, welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Open Ultra League, and let's try to get some wins with this team here. So let's try out this team featuring the Tapu, Fini with the Registeel and the Guzzlord in the back. Here we have a favorable matchup. They switch out into their Feraligatr. Feraligatr switches are kind of iffy always. We don't know if they're running the Ice Beam or they're running Potential Crunch. So we shield the first one, ends up being the Hydro Cannon bait. That's fine. We're going to be able to get to this Dragon Fall here, and at this point, we can farm down one shield because if it is an Ice Beam, we can still survive it from that range, and that's exactly what happened. So they are able to get to another Hydro here, but at least we are able to maintain alignment. Guzzlord comes back in. We're going to be able to throw this Dragon Claw right back at this Guzzlord, trying to get to another move. Nope. They do switch out immediately into the Tentacruel. This Tentacruel here is going to be able to have a way favorable matchup. Nature's Magic Disc get used. We do debuff your defense, and that's the whole idea. Trying to get to another move here. Go for the Scold. Hoping we can get a shield. No shield from our corner. They were going for the farm down the whole entire way, huh? And then now we're going to have to decide to come in with the Reggie. And at this point, we need a huge farm from this Reggie. Skull does get used. We avoid the debuff and we continue farming down. I don't know if we can farm down, to be honest. So another Skull does get used. We do avoid the debuff. We cannot farm down, so we're going to fire off this Focus Blast immediately. It does grab a shield, and then they switch into their Guzzler. Since we're not debuffed, we're still staying in. They're going to use a move there. Ends up being the Crunch. Crunch is able to do some neutral damage. We're going to apply the pressure, going for the Focus Blast. This is going to get the second shield, and now we're going to see if we can reach another Focus Blast. We are going to be able to shield right here, and we're going to be able to get to this Focus Blast. However, do we have enough health, and do we have enough damage to take out that Tentacruel? Focus Blast goes through, takes out the Guzzlord, and then we see the Tentacruel here firing off a move immediately. They use the Skull, tilt us out there, and then our Reggie is not able to farm down. So GG's to our opponent. Tentacruel, kind of hard to deal with. Unfortunately, just didn't find the matchup that we needed to, honestly. All right, they're a terrible lead. You switch out into Reggie. They switch out into their Annihilate. Annihilate here doing super effective fast move. They're going to fire off this Zap Cannon. Potential debuff incoming. We do get a shield. We do get the shield and we get the debuff. So that is the best of both worlds. That means that we don't have to shield first. Shadow Ball only does roughly like 25% with that debuff. We're going to fire off another Zap Cannon. This won't KO, but it does get the debuff again. And it does get the Annihilate into the low yellow. Coming right back in with the Tapu Fini. You definitely don't need to skill this Shadow Ball because it's double debuff. They switch out into their Tentacruel. We had the Guzzlord for this situation. We're going to let the first one go. Ends up only being the Skull. We're going to go for this Crunch here to get some neutral damage and potential debuff. We do get the debuff, and that's going to help us farm down easier. At this point, we do have to let this go, and then we're going to look to the farm now. So we get a huge farm down. We do see that it is this Steelix. Steelix is going to tank the Crunch. It does get the debuff, so this is favorable for us. However, this Steelix here is here to try to debuff us as well. You can see the Psychic Bang goes through, and then we're going to throw this Surf. Right before they get to another Psychic Bang, they decided to let it go, and then we use the Annihilate here. Ends up being the 9 Slash. We're going to look for a potential farm down, and we do get the farm down because they needed to get to a Shadow Ball for the win. So GG's to our opponent, able to win that game with a combination of the Tapu Fini and a little bit of the Guzzlord. Great lead here. We got the Shadow Charizard. They switch out into the Tribute. We're going to go into our Reggie here. It is not necessarily the best counter, but it's one of our better counters. We are going to be able to throw some big charge moves. This Zap Cannon here is going to go through, and it does get the debuff. So the debuff on the attack is going to help us survive and allow us to get to another move. They go for another Crunch. We get double debuff, and this is coming down to who can get some shields. Because at this point, it looks like they're going to be able to outpace us. Focus Blast does go through at this point. They do let it go. Okay, that is really good for us. As this Reggie here is fairly healthy, and we know that we potentially could give a Zap Cannon, but they snipe our energies and they play by them. They switch out into their Giratina, and then we switch out into our Guzzlord. Guzzlord doing a tremendous amount of fast move damage. We let the first Dragon Claw go through, and then we're going to do our own Dragon Claw. It does finally get a shield from our opponent. And now we have a decision. Do we shield here or do we allow this Dragon Claw to go to? So we're just going to let this Giratina use all its energy. And now we know they're relatively dry. We're going to throw this Dragon Claw here to either get a shield or get the KO. They decided to just let it go. And then we're going to go straight into our Tapu Fini. And now we have a favorable matchup. We don't have to worry about any moves for this first one. So better let this one go. And then we know that all we have to do is get to 2 serves. And our opponent is aware of our energy. So GG's to our opponent. They decide to just leave after we reach 2 serves. So the lead was great. And then we just made... we got a little bit lucky that they'd allowed the Drapion to go through. They could have easily shielded and then potentially got a better matchup in the back. But Guzzlord or Tapu Fini is going to be pretty decent against the Charizard. Alright, Cresselia lead here. Obviously, not the best situation for our Tapu Fini. We're going to switch out, try to catch a move. Ends up being the Grass Knot, and we do see the Skeledirge in the back. So Skeledirge here is going to be able to do a lot of fast move damage. We're going to throw the Zap Cannon. Didn't get a debuff, so we need at least one more Zap Cannon to win this game. Are we going to be able to get to another move? No, we faint on the next move, so they have a good amount of energy. They are going to be expected to throw Shadow Ball. That's exactly what they throw. However, we're going to snipe their energy here, throw our own serve. This is going to get the KO, or it's going to get the shield. It does grab a shield. They switch out into the Cresselia right afterwards, though, so that's an interesting play. We're going to allow the first one to go through. Ends up being the Moonblast. We thought that they were going to be beating right there. And unfortunately, since that Moonblast goes through, all they have to do is spam a ton of Grass Knots. But let's see if we can get a farm down, maybe. 2 shield farm down and hope for the best. This is going to be another Grass Knot. That's fine. And then we're going to get the farm down. Oh, wow. Ends up being the Feraligatr in the back. That's going to be tough to come back from. We only have, moves, enough energy for 2 moves for this Guzzlord. The Crunch does get shielded, so they were aware of that energy. And then they go for this Hydro Cannon right here. It does get us into the low red. We're going to be able to throw this Nature's Madness, though, and it's not enough to take it out, unfortunately. And so that means that they're going to be able to throw a move right back at this Guzzlord for the win. So GG's to our opponent, able to win that game. That Cresselia was a problem. Unfortunately, maybe in hindsight, we should have switched into the Guzzlord, but it's hard to tell. That Cresselia was able to just get a huge Moonblast off on our Guzzlord. All right, here we go. We got the Poliwrath, which is our Tapu. They switch out into their Lantern, and we have the perfect counter for this situation. This is why we have the Guzzlord, to kind of protect against the electric types and the grass types against this Lantern, against the Tapu Fini weaknesses. So we are looking to farm down at this point after throwing a charge move. They go for the Thunder. Okay, interesting moveset. And we are able to get a ton of energy. They come back in with our Poliwrath, which makes sense. We're going to throw a bunch of Dragon Claws at this point. 1 Dragon Claw goes through. We're trying to get to 2 Dragon Claws. We do reach 2 Dragon Claw energy. Let's see, we're able to fire it off. Another Dragon Claw gets fired off. And then this is probably going to get a let go. We get into the red, though, so that's not bad. Going to our Tapu Fini here, we can take any of the moves. So we're excited to throw a move, and then they switch out of there, and they go into their Tentacruel. So this is a triple water team. Luckily, we have the right counters to it, and we have the Registeel matchup against that Tentacruel. So check out this team if you haven't already, and let us know if you enjoyed the video.